Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, presented on and by the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. Happy Friday. Are you guys doing well? It's Friday. We made it. I'm not really somebody that's really like that in the Fridays or like Mondays. Like, I don't hate Mondays and love Fridays. I feel like you make the best of your day, but it is leading into the weekend, and the weekend is Super Bowl weekend. You know, we got that whole thing happening, and February is pretty intense for sports because we got our Super Bowl, then we have our All-Star game, which is like the halftime through the NBA. So, I mean, you guys know what that means. That means things are about to get real. They're about to get real because we got that trade deadline coming up where people have to make like last-minute decisions, things like that, things along that nature. Also, did you know that well, you probably do know this, but if you didn't, I need to give you a heads up. Today is February 2nd. So you know what that means? That means like we finally got through January. I'm not mad that January took really long. Like, I'm fine with it. It's okay. I don't mind a really long month. That's okay with me. I just feel like that was the longest 31 days of my life. It felt like it was a really long month. It feels like we should be having like New Year's right now. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how that month lasted so long. I feel like New Year's Day was like a week. Then Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday was like 2 weeks. And then LeVar Ball talked for about a week. The Cavs were bad. And a few weeks later, we did some other stuff. Maybe the Cavs were still bad. LeVar Ball talked some more. And somehow, some way, months later, we're finally in February. So congratulations for those of you that survived. For those of you guys that didn't make it to February, then, bless up. We'll miss you. We appreciate you like trying to survive it. But I mean, hey, like, can't win them all, right? Also, I just want to take this time to go ahead and congratulate the woman that was able to eat 501 wings for the Wing Bowl challenge. I'm not 100% sure what she wins, but you're not going to make me eat 501 wings. Like, there's not a situation on the planet. I'm not even 100% sure how you can get me to eat that many wings. You'd have to pay me. Like, there's no way that I'm just going to eat 501 wings just because. The Wing Bowl had like 20,000 people at the Wells Fargo Center, and the person that came in second place ate 396 wings. I don't know what the award was because it didn't tell me exactly. I think it's just for bragging rights, but I'm not about to eat 501 wings. Anyway, congratulations to her. I mean, like, that's cool. I'm completely with it. Anyway, check this out. This is where we're at right now. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this. We got a couple things going on. We got, obviously, Blake Griffin went to the Pistons. If you didn't hear about that, then surprise, surprise. He went to the Pistons. They decided they didn't want him anymore. But he found out on Twitter, which is kind of rude. Also, we have LeBron James in like Warrior talks. But he's not really talking about it. It's more like a speculative thing, and it's in the rumor mill. It's one of those things people just throw out there just to test the waters and just to have people get kind of scared. So that's out there. And also, we've got LeVar Ball making outrageous predictions. I'm not going to say per usual because a lot of things that he has said have come true. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's a crazy person. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be one of those people. That's not something I'm going to do. So we've got that. And then we also have his Junior Ball Association. So it's going to be a league he's going to open up so that players can go basically play there prior to going to the league, so they don't have to go to college or they don't have to go overseas. But they can go to this league and they can make $5,000 to $10,000 in a season, which sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about LeBron right now. And this whole Warrior thing. Now, basically what happened was a quote basically came out from somebody. We don't know who, but a quote came out that said LeBron would be willing to have a seat with the Warriors if they were able to work out a max cap. If they were able to work out a way to pay him, basically. Like that's where it's at. If they could find a way to pay him, then he would go there. Now, you already know. Everyone knows. Everybody knows. All you guys. I feel like I'm gonna take a guess right now. Maybe kind of broad, but I feel like 96% of you guys out there are like, what? The Warriors? That's ridiculous. Why would he go there? That's stupid. He always cheats. He always chases rings. It's ridiculous. 96% of you guys. He should stay at the Cavs. And then 4% of you are like, he can do whatever he wants to do. Now, this might not be a popular way to go on this, but I'm from the school where I feel like he can do whatever he wants to do. Right? And this is kind of why. When we had I hate the word ring chasing because I feel like that's what you're playing for is rings, right? So that whole word that it doesn't make any sense to me. But I find it interesting that like a lot of the old heads or people that don't know, a lot of the old heads hate on LeBron and people that don't know a lot about basketball history. And the reason I find that interesting is because a lot of basketball history consists of players going to better teams to get better opportunities. Like, did you guys know that that prior to the Jazz losing to the Bulls, the Jazz beat the Rockets and Charles Barkley went to the Rockets to try to win a ring with Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon? Did you guys know that? No, of course not, because nobody ever talks about that, right? And that's okay though, because they were older, right? But there's like a bunch of other players that are older and they go to these teams and they get a ring so they can just sign up for a ring. Happens all the time. I'm not going to throw a bunch of names in the bus, but it's happened multiple times. And I guess that's okay to like spend your whole career somewhere dying for a city that won't bring you anyone and then going somewhere else to try to chase a ring when you're washed. Right. Instead of taking your future in your own hands, which I feel like that may lead to a little bit of envy. Because sometimes in life, people seem to have an issue or conflict with people that have what seems as like too much perceived freedom. So there's that he can do whatever he wants to do. Secondly, I feel like once he left to go to Miami and people hated him or whatnot, but he put on an incredible show in Miami and won MVP. And made the Miami Heat cool again. People liked him. Then when he went back to the Cavs, I feel like when you break this alleged streak that this self-proclaimed amazing sports city has, and you bring them a championship while like beating what's going to be the best team in NBA history. Like he beat the 73-9 Warriors. The 73-9 Warriors. He beat them. Then they had to go get Kevin Durant. I feel like as LeBron, if you play for a city that hasn't won a championship in 100 years or whatever, and then you beat what's going to be the best team in NBA history, I think you can do whatever you want. I feel like he's earned the right to do whatever. And if you have a problem with it just because it's like, oh, well, if you don't like LeBron, that's fine. If you don't like the Warriors, that's fine too. But the whole he can't go there because it's going to tarnish his legacy thing, Let me give you guys another heads up. Our memories when it comes to this whole thing, the memories of people being, I don't know, however we want to put sports and however we want to align sports with morality. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're not going to remember any of this. Like, we're not going to remember any of this stuff. It's not going to happen. For example, when KD left the Oklahoma City Thunder to go to the Warriors, people destroyed him. They tore him a new one, destroyed him. Oh my God, I can't believe he did that. He went to the team that beat him. What a sellout. He's a terrible person. Like, all these things, right? Because he went to the team that he lost to, or all this stuff, right? People kept saying he should have went somewhere else. Like, he should have went to the Spurs or to the Clippers, which it's stupid. I don't understand. But I'll get into that later too, about how we want people to go make things kind of. I'll get into that when I can explain it better. But then KD goes to the Warriors with this alleged super team that everyone hates so much. He beats LeBron. Now suddenly KD is the best player in the world. And now, but we rain this confetti on him because he has a championship, and it doesn't matter anymore. All that's going to matter is the record. That's all that makes a difference. So so I don't know if that's just the entry. I don't know if that's just the prelude of changing teams where people are like, oh, you went to a different team. Oh, and then they're like, hey man, he's still the best. Cause that's what happened, right? When KD left, I feel like the amount of vitriol and people vehemently protesting his move, it felt like whatever he won would forever have an asterisk by it. Like, just wasn't going to count. But then when he went and got Finals MVP, like playing among Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, we completely forgot that he left. Like, we started pretending that he was drafted by them. So what's the difference? Please tell me what the difference is. And you know what? I'm going to tell you what the difference is as soon as I get back. Give me a brief moment. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, presented on the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. Now, I was just talking to you guys about what the difference was between KD going to the Warriors and what LeBron would be if LeBron went to the Warriors to go join KD, which I'm going to tell you guys what the difference is. The primary difference is this. We actually, it's ironic because sports is entertainment, sports is drama, right? So whenever I try to think about these guys' business decisions, I try to think of it from like my point of view as someone that wants the best for my life. Now, but other people don't. As far as the entertainment aspect goes, it's hard. It's hard. I feel like it's hard to separate it. Now, there's people out there that like seeing LeBron go all the way to the finals and drag a terrible team to the finals and then almost win or lose. Like we enjoy seeing that for the drama. Like it's great drama, right? Because they're going to struggle all year. Like they struggle half the year like they usually do. He's going to turn it on in the finals. And when he gets to the finals, he'll be the underdog. And no matter how much people hate LeBron, when he gets to the finals for the last, several years since, how long has it been? Jeez. He's always, I'm going to say since he's been with the Cavs, he's always been the underdog. That's just how it's been. Right. So I feel like people enjoy that. And then if LeBron goes to the Warriors, you're going to lose your entertainment. So don't tell me it won't be competitive and it's unfair. Just tell me that you're going to lose your entertainment because you don't even really want to see good basketball. You just want to see LeBron go up against a wall. That's all. Like that's what it really comes down to. It's like we want to see competitive. We want to see competition. No, you don't. You want to see LeBron attack a wall. That's what you want to see. honestly. Like, and that's what it comes down to. Because, and you know what's great about this is like all these like great finals that we watched him playing, like when Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were both hurt, and he was mobbing with Matthew Dellavedova, and they lost in 6. LeBron put on a show. He did his absolute best with that roster, and it was great to watch. But then what happens after? What happens after that? The Warriors get the crown, and we count how many finals losses LeBron has. Right? Isn't that because like, so when it comes to the season, we care about playoffs and individual plays, but as time goes on, what is cemented in our minds are the champions and who wins, because that's what gets cemented. Like, we don't know how much LeBron averaged in the finals when he didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love, but somehow, some way, he played the Warriors and he put on a show. I want to say he was averaging the same average that he always has, 28, 10, and 10. Well, 28, 8.9, and 9.7. That's what I want to say he averaged in the finals when he had Dellavedova with him. And that's impressive. But if we're only going to measure how many losses he had, then why not go to another team? Because the knock against KD was like KD's never going to win a championship, never going to win a championship, never going to win a championship, blah, 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 never going to win a championship. So if you can make it work to the point where you can win a championship and you can take some stress off of yourself, then why not? The way I see it is this. I heard an interesting question asked the other day. And I found it interesting because of the answers that some people gave. And they said, would you rather have LeBron stay on the Cavs and never win another championship, or have him go to the Warriors and win 3? And people said, I'd rather have him go stay on the Cavs and not win another one. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know if you understand, but the level of legendary greatness that would occur if he won 1 championship with the Cavs, 2 with the Heat, and then 3 with the Warriors. I honestly feel like if I was on the Warriors, I mean, I'm a Warrior fan, but if I was on the Warriors, I personally wouldn't want LeBron to come, because then LeBron, I don't think the Warriors would tarnish LeBron's championships. I think LeBron would tarnish the Warriors championships, because you'd have championships with pre-LeBron and championships with post-LeBron. And if LeBron can go to 3 different teams and win championships, I feel like that has to be some type of NBA record. I don't know of anyone that's won multiple championships Robert Horry has won championships on the Lakers, the Rockets, and the Spurs. Robert Horry's done it. And he was effective on the Rockets and effective on the Lakers. And when he was on the Spurs, he was there, you know. But to be like someone that's like smashing, dropping 25, and you win 3 more championships, he's trying to get the most points ever scored too. I believe he's got 5,000 more to go. If I'm correct, let me find out for you guys. Just a second. Can you look it up for me? Let me know when you get. All right, let me know when you get it. So I'm completely okay with him going to the Warriors, because I feel like it's going to contribute to his legacy. He's going to have more rings. He's going to have more points. He's still going to be the best player ever to me. I mean, honestly, and people can say what they want to say about him jumping teams, or say what they want to say about him not winning more finals. But I mean, if he could win 6 and he's been that many times, then why not? Like, I honestly don't see a problem with it. I seriously don't. How much does he have? LeBron James has 30,000 points as of right now. 30,000 points. And all-time scorer is Kareem with 8,000. 38,000. So LeBron's about 8,000 behind Kareem. So if LeBron wants that scoring title, which I feel like he has to get, because to me, I believe that with LeBron's like top secret $1 billion contract that he signed with Nike, I think somewhere in that it says, if you become the all-time leading scorer, then we'll make sure that your grandkids have $1 billion too. Because I mean, how awesome is it if you're Nike to be able to say the all-time leading scorer is a Nike athlete? I feel like there's an incredible way to sell that. Has to be. Here's my other problem. I've heard of people say like, oh, well, he should, if anything, he should go to the Rockets to go to the Spurs, and in that way it won't be so unfair. I don't understand. Again, this is me separating like business to like entertainment. And why would you, how do I explain this? Why would you want to make something, I'm the type of person where I always want to dominate, right? So I don't show up places late. I show up places early because I want to crush whatever I do. I feel like when we talk about players that have the most buzzer beaters or like go ahead 3-pointers or go ahead touchdowns or whatever in certain sports, I think that stat's overrated because I don't think you should be in that situation anyway. Like a lot of the players with the best clutch numbers like Eli Manning or Tony Romo, they don't win. Like, I mean, Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls. Great. But the only time he has 2 Super Bowls, the only time they've ever been in the playoffs is when they win a Super Bowl. So other than that, I'm not going to say it's luck because you can't win 2 Super Bowls on luck. I'm just saying he's inconsistent. Same thing with like Kobe, right? Kobe played like a bunch of game winners, but Kobe Bryant and the Lakers are in those situations because Kobe takes a bunch of bad shots and then like they end up down and they end up in that situation. I'm not saying Kobe's not dominant. I'm just saying that we overrate like being clutch. You shouldn't have to be in situations where you're clutch. Honestly, like who wants to procrastinate so long that you're in a situation that you almost barely win? We like it for entertainment, but in real life, do you want to be barely late? I mean, you want to be barely on time? Of course not. So with the whole like LeBron should go to Spurs and that way it's still competitive and that way it's not completely unfair. What? Listen. There are 32 NBA teams. I think there might be 30. There's 32 NBA teams. So with that said, you can only go to so many teams, right? Like now, I could see if people were like, if LeBron was going to go to the D League, like I'm going to go to play in the D League. Like, come on, dude. Like, really, bro? Really? I actually heard Emmitt Smith compare it to like playing a blind child, and that analogy not only is it incredibly ridiculous, but it's nowhere near a good analogy because there's 32 teams. Those are the best players in the world, period. So there's no, I want to go somewhere and be kind of good. No, I want to go somewhere and dominate. I want to go somewhere and destroy it. And if you went to the Rockets, it'd be the same thing. What's the difference between him playing with CP3 and James Harden versus him playing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green? Like, what's the difference? I want to say it's the same thing, but I also want to say that how do I say this? Like with what LeBron does, I want to say that him being on the Rockets, I don't think that they'd be as good. I don't think so because I feel like James Harden's basketball style, like LeBron, I feel like LeBron and James Harden will get in each other's way. They just would. Like they would get in each other's way. It wouldn't be something that would work itself out very well. I don't think so. But if he wanted to go there, so be it. Either way, he's earned it. Like, because all he's going to do is continue to stay on like a mediocre teams, drag them to the finals, and then lose. And then people are going to say he can't win the finals. He'll never be MJ. But if he goes to another team and wins, MJ would never go to another team. He'll never be MJ. So it doesn't matter. He'll never be MJ. There. So for everyone that wants to argue that all the time, well, LeBron's never going to be MJ. Okay, fine. Then what? I mean, that's where we're at, right? Like, and it's like I feel like Michael Jordan always wanted to put himself in the position to succeed. It just seems like Michael Jordan's GMs and Phil Jackson and them were just smarter about it. Like, hey, we got a great player. We don't want to lose him, so we're gonna have to do whatever we need to do to just get him here. When you have people on the outside making things move for you a little bit better, then all you have to worry about is your particular craft. Now, when someone's not facilitating you with the right tools to do your job, you have to look outside and get things done on your own. So what I mean by that is if Michael Jordan only had to show up and play basketball and wear Nikes and like talk to Bugs Bunny in commercials and wear Hanes and play golf, then that's fine. But if they were losing all the time, they weren't able to draft Scottie Pippen, they weren't able to acquire Steve Kerr, they weren't able to acquire Dennis Rodman when he was available after him balling against them in 89 and 90. If they weren't able to make those acquisitions, then like would MJ have been the happiest person in the world? I mean, who knows? We don't know. But when people around you are doing the jobs they're supposed to do, it can make your job a little bit easier. That's just how I feel about it. I think it's interesting that like people would say things like, well, there should be competition and it's unfair, but we're also the same people that like watch college sports and watch college football and watch these teams play against the other team to rack up numbers and just blast them by 50 buckets. So watch these college teams, and the best teams in college end up losing like 1 or 2 games, maybe 3 games, but then they spend the beginning of the season just beating up on other teams, smashing them. And I want to know, like, if you had like a kid and they got a scholarship to Duke or to Alabama, to Duke for basketball or Alabama for football, would you say, no, I don't want to go there because there's too many, like, I don't want to go there. They're too good. In certain situations, you might, like, you know what, I want to go somewhere else and shine. I want to go somewhere else and I got to shine. Like, so I get that. That would make more sense. But as far as your job goes, would you go to an organization that was like more successful or like less successful? Would you want to go to organization in your life so that like you can kind of kill it? Like, I want to go somewhere so I can kind of kill it, but still leave some space to, you know, like maybe be okay. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the thought process is behind that. I think that we enjoy seeing like Westbrook, for example, and then him signing a contract for $1 billion. And then the GM is making moves to get in players that are only going to be there for a couple months. And then Westbrook can always struggle in the week and be like, hey man, you were so good, but you never won a ring. And then later on, once he retires, all we're going to talk about is a ring. Just like Allen Iverson. I love watching AI play. Looking back on it, I wish he would have did the whole old man thing and jumped on the team to go get a ring. I wish he would have. Then he'd have a ring, but he doesn't have one. And he played every game like it was his last. Same thing's gonna happen with Westbrook and Damian Lillard, and the list goes on. Just letting you guys know. I hopefully that wasn't too depressing. Chris Paul too. I don't ever see Chris Paul winning the ring either. I don't see it happening. I'm gonna tell you guys one more thing about these alleged super teams when I get back. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why they're great. I'm gonna tell you exactly why as soon as I get back, because I got a tidbit for you that you may enjoy. And then after that, I'll tell you about Blake Griffin finding out about his trade on Twitter and why I don't necessarily disagree with him finding out about a trade on Twitter. Be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, presented on and by the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. So before I get into this Blake Griffin thing, I wanted to tell you guys about why these super teams that everyone hates so much like are a good thing. And I don't even like really saying the word super team because I think it's kind of silly to use the word super team. I think they should say like player managed teams, because that's all it is, right? I mean, if a player makes a decision to go somewhere, it's a super team, and if a GM makes a trade, then we call it a big three, right? Isn't that how that works? I think that's how that works. Like if a player, like when LeBron went to the Heat, that's a super team, but when LeBron went to the Cavs and they traded for Kevin Love, that was the big three. And that's, I guess that's how we're doing that apparently. I don't know. But either way, we'll always have disagreements forever about how we feel like ownership is supposed to tell people what to do. while like workers are just supposed to stay in their lane. And that isn't something that just in sports that like trickles all the way down to like real life too. Like if you notice, there'll be people that are telling you to stay in your lane when you want to like own your own business or do your own independent thing. We'll say, hey man, why are you doing that? Just get back in line. What you're supposed to do. Don't worry about it in the business stuff. Someone else will take care of that. It happens all the time. Anyway, this is why these things are good. So I know there's a lot of football fans out there and basketball fans out there, period. But have you ever noticed how on particular, especially in football, you ever notice how if you're watching a game and like a player gets hurt, it's a wrap for the season? Depending on the player, like whether it be like your running back or your wide receiver, especially your quarterback, like the Texans, for example, Deshaun Watson got hurt, and it was a wrap for the Texans. But they were supposed to be actually pretty good. And the Titans ended up going to the playoffs. This happens in the NBA as well. Like the Pelicans, DeMarcus Cousins got hurt, right? DeMarcus Cousins got hurt and tore his ACL, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. And it's like, find me one Pelican fan that isn't like, oh, I wish we had someone else on our team that could put up 25 points. Find me one Pelican fan that's like, no, you know what? I'm happy that we don't have anyone that can score 25 because we don't have a super team. No, it's silly because like in sports, injuries happen. They happen. And when someone gets hurt, it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll have to wait for next season. Oh, man. Right? That's where we're at. That's what happens. Oh, man, guess we got to wait till next season. Same thing all the time. Same thing with, I don't want to say the same thing with Kevin Love, but it's okay Kevin Love got hurt while he averages 20 because they have LeBron James. And that's fine. They're still in third place. It's going to be okay. But when these things go down and all you can do is look forward to next year, it's kind of like if you have other players on your team that can play, then why not have your team be good? I feel like when it comes to sports, teams are only going to be good for so long, right? They're only going to be good, like, except wild anomalies. Like a wild anomaly is going to be the Patriots, right? Because they've been good for, 16 years now. And that's a little bit different as far as like the span of winning championships from like 2002 to right now. That's a lot. It's a big deal. I'll be honest about that. Other than that, these teams go through cycles. So if one team gets a whole bunch of players that are really good, then they're just going to be good for a while. And that's fine. Like, didn't the Boston Celtics did that? The Lakers did that. If a team is just going to be good for like 5 to 10 years in the NBA, it's just going to happen. So, and there's no amount of criticism or vitriol that's going to change that. It doesn't matter if they got LeBron or not. They're going to win the championship this year. They can get LeBron next year. They're going to win this year. And eventually what's going to happen is this. Just because basketball is a little bit different than football, where you can't really just interchange. There's 53 people, 52 on a football team. You can kind of interchange anybody almost. Like, I want to say, during these championships, I don't think the Patriots have ever had like the same roster. I don't believe. I think there's like a stat where they haven't been that close to the same. Versus the Spurs, where when they were winning championships, a lot of the roster was the same. I say that to say this: a lot of the players on NBA teams, they're not very interchangeable. So if it did get to a point where the Warriors did get LeBron, they'd have to probably get rid of Klay Thompson or Draymond Green, because Klay Thompson or Draymond Green are going to take a cut to play with LeBron James. They're going to go somewhere else, get more money. LeBron's probably going to play in 2 years at the Warriors, and then Durant may be tired of playing. He may get on his Durant may get on his Kyrie hype. Like, you know what? I want to go do my own thing now again because I already won a championship. I want to go to Washington. Who knows? But these teams are only good for so long. So it's kind of like, you gotta get it while you're there. Like, it's like if you go to Hometown Buffet, right? And you're not good. And I don't know anyone that goes there like more than once a year. Barely. I don't know anyone that goes to any buffets more than once a year. But while you're there, if someone says, "Hey man, you're eating too much." No. I'm here now. This is Friday. I'm at the buffet now. I'm going to eat as much as I can eat. Cause after today, I won't be here. Like, it's like going around the buffet telling people like, "Hey, don't eat so much today." No. I'm only going to be here once. And that's where the Warriors are at. We're only going to be here one time. There's going to be a time where the Warriors won't be good again. That's just the way it is. And when they're not good again in 5 years, then they'll have a falling off point. But while you're here, you got to get it. While you can, you have to get it. And these super teams are, I'm gonna call them super functional entities. These super functional entities are great because if a player gets hurt, the season isn't over. Like, I mean, if a player gets hurt on a team that you feel like is pretty good, and then they have to go back to the drawing board, and they're whack, and they lose their placement, and they're no longer attractive to get free agents, then that team is just falling apart. Just like the Pelicans, right? Like the Pelicans, DeMarcus Cousins is up for a contract, but he's hurt. They have to pay him, but it's like they may not make the playoffs. It's not really an attractive free agent place for them anymore. So that whole injury kind of screwed them. If they had another player besides DeMarcus Cousins, besides Anthony Davis, then it wouldn't look so bad. So I'm gonna say that same thing with the Rockets, right? James Harden got hurt. Chris Paul was averaging 30. It's okay. He can carry the ship. It's okay. Versus if James Harden wasn't there, the Rockets would have fell off. So, I mean, you guys can call it what you want. Not you guys. I know some of you guys don't feel this way, but you can call it what you want as far as it being cheating or unfair. But I'll say while you're in a position to dominate, you dominate. You take full advantage of the opportunity because you won't always have it. Sometimes in life, we get placed in situations to take advantage of things that we normally wouldn't have access to. If you're a team that's gonna end the season with 60 wins and you have the option to go ahead and sign LeBron, even if you could sign him on a discount, then you take that because 5 years from now you won't be able to. Right? Food for thought. So your man's Blake Griffin found out that he got traded over Twitter, and this is like I was told that it was very unprofessional and that it shouldn't have happened this way. And there's a lot of things going on about why it shouldn't happen this way and why it's wrong. But my thing, I'm not really surprised, right? Because like people, we have people leaking like NFL owners meetings conversations. We have people leaking the president's conversations. So I'm not surprised that this was on Twitter. Secondly, it's not really up to you. You know, like the thing is this, when it comes to being traded, I feel like I've heard this story multiple times. I feel like I've heard this story multiple times of players hearing about trades while they're like warming up for a game or in the locker room. They played a prank on, it was one of the Warriors players a while ago. He doesn't play there anymore. I believe it was Festus Ezeli, and he was in like a car, and they did like a fake radio show where they talked about him being traded, and he heard it, and then Andre Iguodala was in the van behind him and thought it was funny. I don't think that's funny at all, and then lo and behold, a year later he was traded. But people find out, so that joke is funny because you can find out you're traded on the radio. Like, so, and I don't really think it's your choice, right? So if you're being traded, it's kind of like if you're out looking for a new job, depending on your situation at your job, you don't really tell your job, hey, I'm interviewing tomorrow. Hey, I'm interviewing tomorrow. Hey, I'm going to go to an interview tomorrow. Hey, I'm looking to leave here soon. That doesn't really happen. You put in your 2 weeks, like after you find a new job, for the most part. I mean, unless it's someone that's like mega ultra supportive, but if it's a business and you're not going to be like, oh, just so you guys know, while you're paying me, I'm looking for something else to go do. I don't think that's how that works. So I'm not really surprised he found out on Twitter, especially because who's talking about the trade, right? Like, it's some guy on the phone is talking to some guy on the phone in LA is talking to some guy on the phone in Detroit, right? Or maybe they're at lunch, who knows? But some people know they're at lunch. Some people know they're having this conversation. Some guy walks in the room like, yeah, we got him. We got it done. And of course it's going to leak. Like, they're not going to have Blake Griffin's agent there. Like, hey man, just so you know, we're about to trade this guy. I want you to give him a heads up. Because then what happens? What happens is that if the trade doesn't work out, he knows you guys want to trade him, which he kind of already should have known, just because you guys offered Chris Paul $200 million, and then Chris Paul said no, so you guys gave it to Blake Griffin. Then you guys had Blake Griffin sign a contract and called him a Clipper for life, but didn't include a no trade clause inside of that contract, which is, to me, honestly, before I heard Blake Griffin's interview about this situation, I was kind of like, oh, Blake Griffin, like you knew you weren't going to be a Clipper for life. Like you should have signed a contract with a no trade clause, like Melo or LeBron or Westbrook, like, or Curry, like no trade clause all day. Like, why would you go ahead and sign that? Why would you sign that? For what? But then after hearing his interview, he said he doesn't have any regrets for not signing a no trade clause because he only wants to play somewhere that wants him to play there. He said he's really happy in Detroit and he's back where he wants to be. And he's wearing number 23. He wore number 23 in college. I don't know why he's not wearing number 32. Maybe because that's Rip Hamilton's number and they're retiring it. Or maybe because they had 23 available and he really likes wearing 23. Who knows? On his debut last night, he had 24 buckets and 10 assists. And I actually feel like they're a super functional point guard away from being okay. And when I say being okay, I mean like making it the second round. Because the way they were playing last night, Blake Griffin was throwing drumming lobs or whatnot. They got a W last night. It was pretty good. They just don't have any perimeter presence. But if they can get a super functional, if they can get like a Rondo or even like, I really want to say, I haven't seen this guy play in a while, but I want to say like Jameer Nelson from the Pelicans, or even if they could somehow get like, I don't know, if they can get even the shooter, if they can get Eric Gordon from the Rockets somehow, I don't know, but if they can get a point guard and the shooter, or somehow get both, that'd be great. If they can get if they can get Damian Lillard, I don't know, something else, I think they'll be fine. But I actually respect Blake Griffin what he said. Like I didn't have a no trade clause in there because I don't want to be somewhere they don't want me to be, because that gets awkward, right? I think there's a difference between having a no trade clause I think there's a difference between having a long-term no trade clause versus short-term. So like LeBron signs these like 1-year contracts, right? And he puts a no trade clause in there because he wants control a year later, which is fine for the team because they know they'll have to deal with him for a year and they can renegotiate. With Carmelo's no trade clause, I believe the contract was like 5 years. With that, it's a little bit different. Everyone's being held hostage. So when things get ugly, it's kind of like, well, we don't want you here. And he's like, well, you got to pay me. And everyone knows there's no trade clause. So everyone knows he has to waive that to get traded. And once you waive that, then it's big news. Now everyone knows that you don't want to be there and they don't want you. And it just becomes a mess, right? So I feel like I respect Blake Griffin for what he said about it, and it completely changed my mind about the whole thing. Because I was really at first like, you didn't have a no trade clause, you weren't a Clipper for life. But for him to say, I didn't put the no trade clause on there because I only want to be somewhere that wants me. So if you're playing somewhere like, they're like, man, we would trade this guy, but we put that no trade clause in there. I really wish we wouldn't have did that. Right? Isn't that awkward? That's super awkward, right? So then everyone knows you have a no trade clause in there. Like everybody's talking about it. Like with Melo's, like he has to waive. He's got to waive his no trade clause. He's got to waive his no trade clause. He's got to waive his no trade clause. He's got to waive his no trade clause over and over again. That's all everyone was talking about. Him waiving his no trade clause. Ridiculous. So, big ups to Blake Griffin. I'm happy for him being on the Pistons. It's a good look to me personally. Like I was kind of over the whole Clipper thing just because I feel like that whole Clipper thing needed to be blown up a while ago. It was an accident. It was an accident anyway, because CP3 was supposed to go to the Lakers to play with Kobe, but David Stern was like, "Nah, you guys can't do that." And then he gave him to the Clippers, and the rest is history. So with that, I am going to go ahead and take a quick little commercial break. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about your favorite stage dad, LeVar Ball, in his recent prediction. I'll also give you today in NBA history, along with the game of the night you should watch. Be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your favorite host, Ryan Holloway, presented on and by the GSMC Podcast Network to fulfill all of your podcasting needs. So, as promised, let me just wrap up last segment a little bit. Congratulations to Blake Griffin and his new team. Seems like he's enjoying it there. He went 24-10 last night. He gets to wear number 23 again. Congratulations. LeBron might go with the Warriors. If he does, great. If he doesn't, I hope he does. I hope LeBron makes a decision that's going to get him a ring. I hope so. Either way. So this is where we're at right now. LeVar Ball prediction. LeVar recently said that LiAngelo is going to play for the Lakers and that Melo is going to stay in Lithuania until 2020 till the draft's ready. I was under the impression that LiAngelo was just going to play overseas for a while and basically just be like the face of Lithuania and then maybe develop and then maybe come to the NBA in like 3 or 4 years. But LeVar said that the Lakers are going to draft him and he's going to be a Laker. And this isn't something that's like, that's old. Like this isn't the thing he said in January. He just recently said this. Like he just said this right now. And geez, like I don't know. And he's already done a lot of like outrageous things. Not outrageous in a negative way. Outstanding. He's performed outstanding magic, right? Outstanding magic. One person said, this was in December. One person said that LiAngelo had no chance to be drafted in June, and that was true before his shoplifting incident in China. And according to like a GM that's in the NBA, he's not on our scouting list, even our extended list. Now, I don't know how LeVar is going to pull this off. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if LiAngelo is out there like working on his jumper incredibly well, or if he's going to play D League for a minute and the Lakers like under league. I'm not sure, but I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting because some of the stuff this guy says, it can just be it can be tagged as, just talk. But some of the stuff is like, cause he said Lonzo was going to be picked by the Lakers. He said Lonzo would be picked number 2. And he said that, he did say the Lakers would make the playoffs. And I honestly thought the Lakers would make the playoffs as well. I thought they would, but the West ended up being too good and Lonzo's not as good as we thought he was going to be. But I don't know why he would say that his son's going to play for the Lakers if he didn't have some type of inside track. I don't know how it's going to work itself out. I'm not sure. I find it interesting though. And we'll see what happens with that. Also, what we do have is him basically unleashing what's called the JBL, which is the Junior Ball JBA, the Junior Ball Association. This is going to be something where players that basically don't want to go to college and don't want to play overseas, they can play in this, and they can play in this for a year, and then they can go straight to the NBA. He is starting a summer league for them this summer, and he's been inviting players already, and some college players have been like basically like screenshotting the Snapchat and declining it. So of the 80 spots available, it seems like they haven't filled any, and LiAngelo and LaMelo aren't going to be playing in it. But that's going to be interesting as well, because if you can't get the right names in there, I'm just wondering, first of all, I want to know where this money's going to come from. I also want to know what the benefit to anyone playing in this league would be. Like, I mean, you got an NBA draft coming up, and then some of those guys that make the summer league team are guys that don't end up like on the team. So would this be for people that aren't going to make it to like the NBA summer league? And I believe that, I don't know this for sure, but it seems like the NBA may have like blocked LeVar from LeVar may have tarnished any dealings he have had with the NBA just by like criticizing Luke Walton, the coaches turning against him and things like that. So that could be a particular issue. However, if what he's doing in Lithuania is still successful and he can like change the view of I guess the perception of how he feels about particular coaches, then maybe they will do business with him. But I just don't see a situation where he has a league and the NBA is going to take players from that league. Because he just criticized Steve Kerr the other day and called him the Milli Vanilli of coaching, which is like more disrespect. And it's just not something that you should say. So we'll see how that goes. Also, Lithuania decided to go ahead and give LiAngelo and LaMelo a full year contract to play over there. At one point, it was just going to be it was like a 30-day trial or whatever, but they ended up going ahead and making it a whole year. Which I mean, we saw. I'm going to say I saw this coming. Some people didn't. I read articles that said they wouldn't even make it 30 days in that league, which is crazy. I mean, their first game they scored 0, but it seems like they've gotten their footing. So there's that. Best NBA history for you guys today is going to be February 2nd, 1996. Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson's meeting on the court was the first time in 96 since Game 5 of the 1991 NBA Finals, which is strange because like they played in the 1991 NBA Finals, right? And they hadn't played each other on the same court for 5 years. So at that time, this was the highest rated game on cable TV ever at the time. This is 1996, obviously. This is a minute ago, but can you imagine, like, so all the stuff you hear, right? All the stuff you hear and about these guys, and it makes sense though, because if you told me right now, if there was like, hey, NBA Classic game, Magic Jordan, MJ versus MJ, Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson today on NBA Classic, it would be highly rated today. It would be the highest rated ever, but everyone would turn in, because those guys are legends. I'm sure, actually, if you aired the 1991 NBA Finals right now, they'd say, I mean, it would be highly rated. Like, oh my God, did you know they got the Magic Johnson versus Air Jordan game on NBA Classic right now? People would watch it. You'd have to watch it. Why wouldn't you? So, I mean, big ups to them. It has to be a big deal because it was the highest rated NBA game ever on cable TV, ever, in 1996. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there was a lot of like cable. I'm not saying there was like a lot of stats for that. So the sample size compared to how long we've had cable television right now, it may be a little skewed, but it would be interesting to know like how that game matches up against current games and what we have, since no one's really watching cable anymore. It'd be interesting to find out what that is. I'm gonna give you guys the game of the night along with the pick of the night. Are you ready for this? All right, look, this is what I want you guys to do. Tonight, I want you to watch Miami versus Philadelphia. Miami, even though they don't have any players that you know, they're up and coming, and they're going to be a problem in the playoffs. They're going to be a problem, and I think that you should watch them. You should enjoy them. Get to know Hassan Whiteside, get to know Deion Waiters, get to know Dragic, because they are coming for you. It's going to be a big deal in the playoffs. The pick of the night is going to be, let's see. Oh, easy. The pick of the night is going to be Oklahoma City versus New Orleans. OKC is -5. That's a lock. Bet your whole home on it. No, don't bet your home on it, because you have to have somewhere to sleep, and you have to be able to pay your bills, and pay your bills, maybe to charge your phone so that you can listen to my podcast. With that, I wish you guys a happy, amazing Friday. Enjoy your Super Bowl weekend. Don't eat too many wings. Don't drink and drive. Live long, prosper, watch for potholes.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.